at the party, they're all bored looking naughty, but none of them would have the grace to leave. Susie's in the kitchen, spends the whole night bitching about anyone whose heart is on their sleeve. The goths are in the cellar dressed in black. The goths are in the cellar dressed in black. Johnny's reminiscing about the girl that he was kissing last week when somehow he looked his best. We call her Morning Glory. If you listen to his story, she'll tell you he was nothing but a pest. The goths are in the cellar dressed in black. The goths are in the cellar dressed in black. Singing diddly-doo, diddly-dum, diddly-doo, diddly-dum. I spent the whole night drinking and I reached the stage of thinking there's gotta be some more to life than this. Some girl made me feel better, I was ready so I let her seal her considerations with a kiss, a kiss, a kiss. The goths are in the cellar dressed in black. The goths are in the cellar dressed in black. Singing diddly-doo, diddly-dum, diddly-doo, diddly-dum. Yeah, diddly-doo, diddly-dum. Should have seen them singing diddly-doo, diddly-dum. Ha! Never seen goths singing before. Hi guys, MuddledMuppet here. How you all doing? One of my YouTube viewers, a guy called Merc in Manchester, who I know has another name, but for the life of me I can't remember what it is. I think he's on my friends list with it on PSN with a name, but anyway, I am hopeless at remembering those people who have multiple names. Anyway, he suggested that he would like to see a video where I talk about different aspects of my life, or even different videos where I talk about different aspects of my life. And I thought that's a really good idea. A kind of who am I? Like most people, I'm a man of many parts. And one of the things that has always been a big part of who I am is my love of music, playing music. Yeah, I've never been good, but the thing is, you don't have to be like really good to enjoy something, you know. And it's like if only the winner of a race ever entered, a race would be no good. And that's kind of like one of my philosophies of life, is that you don't have to be the best at something to enjoy it, you know. So anyway, let's have a look at music. I've been playing guitar since I was about 16. I've had long periods in my life where I didn't touch it at all. When I was younger, I was convinced I was going to be a rock star. So I didn't really study at school. I was convinced that I was just going to like make it. Obviously, I didn't. We did have a little bit of success. Yeah, it's great to look back on. I did have a couple of albums out. Did a couple of tours and played in a few local bands, sort of thing. And it was all great fun, you know. It's great to look back on. I probably think that if I had made it, as it were, I would probably be one of these rock and roll casualties, because, you know, dead on sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of thing. Yeah, I think that would have been where I would have ended up. So it's probably for the best that I didn't actually make it. So what is it about music? Everyone likes music, don't they? You know, if you hear a tune and you like it, you can't help but like wiggle your butt a bit, or you know, dance around to it. It has a tremendous impact on our emotional state and can either be very cathartic and help release a negative emotional state when we're feeling down, or it can enhance like that party kind of mood. I mean, imagine going to a party with no music. Imagine a night out at a pub with no music, or a club. It it would just be weird. I don't know what it is about it, but there's something about music that speaks to your soul. Playing a guitar can be an extremely social experience. I remember once being on a train going, can't remember where I was going or why I was going there. Done a lot of traveling on trains in my life, and I had my guitar with me. And this train had broken down in the middle of nowhere. And after about half an hour or something, we realised that this was going to be a long wait. So I had my guitar with me, and I was sitting at a table with a bunch of people I've never met before, but as you do under these circumstances, we all got talking, got friendly. And I think one of them suggested it, or I can't remember if I just brought it down myself. But anyway, I took my guitar out, and within about 20 minutes, we just had this fantastic party going on the train. You know, singing all those kind of songs that everyone knows, like, you know, Brown Eyed Girl and stuff like that. And I think everyone was actually disappointed when the train started again. I can also remember once on a holiday on one of the Greek islands, we were in this taverna, you know, this sort of outdoors nightclub sort of thing, and there was these three guys sitting playing guitars and singing, and they were fantastic. You know, one of them was just singing, wasn't playing guitar, and he had the most incredible voice. And the two guitarists were obviously very skilled. I was a little bit drunk, and during their break, I'd asked if I could have a go, and they said, yeah, sure. Picked up the guitar and I played King of the Swingers from the Jungle Book. Sang my little heart out, and the whole place was like a buzz, you know. It was totally different from what they were doing. They were doing this really beautiful music, and I just did this sort of all-out party music. So it was totally different, and you know, it went down really well, and it was just such a fantastic night. I do have so many happy memories like that. I'm lucky enough to live near a pub that has a buskers night. Now, I haven't played there for a while, but I used to go there every week, and again, just a fantastic night, guaranteed. Just, you know, get up on the stage, belt out a couple of songs, seeing a whole pub full of people enjoying what you're doing. It's a tremendous feeling. With the band that I was in there, that band Pet Hate, the albums are available somewhere to download free. I can't remember where, and I can't be asked to look. If you want to look, have a look. It was good. You know, we weren't the best band in the world by any means, and we did have some disagreements about what our aims should be. They wanted to be taken as serious musicians, and I knew that none of us were good enough to be taken as serious musicians. The only thing that we were good enough to do would be like a good time rock and roll band, you know, that kind of band that you like to go and dance to and stuff, but you're not going to change the scene of music in any way. So we had disagreements about that, but there were some good times. We went on tour with a band called Hanoi Rocks. Now, Hanoi Rocks seem to be a band that most people I speak to haven't really heard of, and yet they've sold 65 million albums worldwide. Incredible. And they were pretty much like that at the time, sort of very, very famous in a certain group of people, but an awful lot of people just never seem to have heard of them. But we went on tour with those, and it was just a fantastic experience, you know, every night playing in front of thousands of people, you know, living that lifestyle, having girls coming up to you on stage, you know. When I played Newcastle, which is where I was living, I played Newcastle on that tour, and this girl who I was seeing at the time, and things weren't great between us, and during the gig, this woman who I'd never seen before sort of motioned me to lean down towards her from the stage. So I leaned down, and she jumps up, throws her arms around us, and gives us this great big kiss, you know. It was so funny, so cool. But later on, my girlfriend at the time had said, you know, I bet that happens all the time, does it? And she was being quite bitchy. And I said, no, that's actually the first time it's happened. And she went, yeah, I bet. And I said, I have fucked quite a few on tour though. And we were sitting in this pub, and she had a full pint of beer, and she poured it over my head, and that was pretty much the end of that relationship. I had so many great times on tour. I can remember one gig that we had done, and I was a bit drunk beforehand. It was during the summer, and I was sitting outside with these people who'd been following Hannah Rocks on tour, and just kind of partying with those in the afternoon, and getting like more and more drunk. And went in for the sort of warm up, you know, to make sure the guitars were in tune, do a sound check and all that sort of stuff. Carried on drinking then, and I was really quite drunk at this point, so this was like about an hour or something before we were due to go on. So the rest of the band said, you know, go outside and sober up. So I went outside, and these people were still there, and I just ended up getting more and more drunk. Went on stage, and I couldn't even like tune my guitar, you know. I'd left my guitar lying somewhere in the club, and I couldn't find it. So somebody found my guitar for me. The other guitarist had to tune my guitar up, and I just went and played so badly. In the end, I just actually kind of like fell off the stage. All right. Anyway, it's coming up to the end of this video. There's so many different stories I could tell about my old band days. They're great to look back on, but I still do like to play guitar occasionally. Nowhere near as much as I used to. I enjoyed doing that song at the beginning here, and I hope you guys liked that. If you would like to hear more songs that I do, you know, do comment. If you'd like to hear different aspects of my life and who I am, do comment. I really do enjoy reading the comments that people look up, that people write up. So anyway, this is Muppet out. Take it easy, guys. Bye.